Walking castles. Today is something a little bit different. This won't be a traditional Kitbash by itself, but the preparation for future ones. These stone behemoths are very expensive, and I have way too many 2000 point plus armies that I should admit to the internet. Besides that, I won't buy and build one for each. So I built one for the cities and one for all. And I'm going to do this with magnets. Once I built the first one, I had a pretty good idea where I could put some. I followed most of the instruction steps apart from two main ones. So let me tell you a story about walking castles, all in the name of science and your enrichment. We start with these parts here. Since they are the only ones that should be done before the main body is assembled, the bottom part of the foot or the tower itself. These are perfect to put a magnet right between the stone layers, so to say. Pro tip, don't do as I. Place this magnet as low as possible. I learned that while building this one. The next parts are obviously the cannons. These are very easy to magnetize. For the barrel that sits inside the tower, one can place a magnet right in the middle of it. I have no better words to describe it, to be honest. And for the other part of the barrel, the one that's actually shown outside the tower and the belly cannon, there is another neat little trick. The power drill. I use 5mm magnets, so I try to drill a hole as close as possible to the center of the barrel. My idea was that the magnet can sit right there. If this is too wobbly for your taste, you could place a thin plastic cardboard right behind it to secure it, by the way. I didn't feel the need to do so. And after the struggle to find the perfect angle, the belly gun is again very easy. Just place it in the round shape. A 5mm one is perfect here as well. For the next one I had to be a little more brave, since I drill right into the most visible place outside the tower itself, because I want to have the options of placing whatever I want on the outside. The only thing to keep in mind here is that the magnet really sits inside the wall and not on top of it. If there is about 1mm room for another magnet, that is even better. And the next step is to make sure that this balcony with the gunner can be placed on the walls. If you have something like magnetic cardboard, I would recommend that. I don't have it, so a thin plastic cardboard and another magnet has to work here. I cut this thing into the same shape, place it where the balcony will sit and just glued it onto the cardboard. As I said, I want to have options here. Be it a door, the city's icon, some Cities of Sigmar shields, skaven tag or some flashy bits. You heard me. Spoilers. These parts are very vital to make your walking castle look unique, in my opinion. By the way, while you see me doing this, you could consider leaving a like, a subscription, or tell me what this walking castle should belong to faction-wise in the future. For the other balconies, I just glued a magnet underneath it. These aren't visible normally, only if you put your castle upside down. But why would you do that? I do this so this castle can hold a variety of people, rats, ghouls, ghosts, and whatever you can think of. Big miniatures need cool bases and a castle needs a moat, the water body around a castle. But since these medieval 8080s walk around, I thought that something like a river will fit as well. I marked the spot where I want to have it and start gluing some cork on the base, because peak Warhammer basing starts like this. Some decorative glass stones, and for a neat little detail I thought I scratch built something like a bridge or boardwalk. So again, some plastic cardboard that I cut into various wooden plank-like sizes, roughened it up on the edges, scraped some lines into it and placed it somehow realistically. A plastic rod tube for a foot on each side and I was good to go. Only some pebbles and after all was dry, it was time for a final test. Because this video would have been a little bit too short, I might as well tell you how I painted this behemoth. We have three main textures here: wood, stone and metal. First I paint all the wood. As always I paint by brush, but I could see painting these legs and the construction underneath it with an airbrush definitely would take less time. Keep in mind this will look messy first, but trust the process. I really want different hues of brown and beige. The main thing is to follow the direction of the wood and not paint across the texture if it's possible. I blend dark rust and barbarian skin tone into each other, creating these different shades. My cities are from a small settlement called Nihilopoulos that is located near a swamp area in Gairan. And yes, I totally made that up right now, so everything rusts and is attacked by the vegetation. As I imagine Gairan being very humid and just Catachan on easy mode. But enough lore, I paint all that is going to be metal with a very watered down hot orange and burnt red. This looks very vibrant first, but again, trust the process here, this will darken down in the end because of the black primer. And once that was dry, what definitely took ages, I gave all the chains and soon to be metal parts a dry brushing of dark silver and silver. I want the recesses to be visible, otherwise the rust effects won't work. And for the large engine holding gondola or the rooftop, I recommend stippling on the paint. And after that I paint the stone walls. For that I used a mix of black, wolf grey, neutral grey and dark sea blue that I just smudged on the walls without any rhyme or reason. I like to mix some blues and browns into my stones, sometimes even greens. It just looks a little more realistic, even if I don't strive for realism. My settlement called whatever I said there some seconds ago is blue. And as I like the wood to be still shown through, I use elfic flesh to wet blend it into the abyssal turquoise, so it looks like painted wood. Maybe slightly chipped off. And while I had the elfic flesh on hand, I painted all the other wood areas and defined them with some straight lines, always following the direction of the wood itself and catching only the most raised details. And as the subreddit of the cities really liked my first castle, I thought I'd include the painting of the water body as well. Shout out to you guys. It's no magic, pro-acrylic jade, abyssal turquoise and ivory mixed on the fly, and when the paint is dry, 2 coats of AK Interactive still water on top of that. I painted all the golden parts with witch gold, shaded them with whiteland flesh shade and dry brushed them with light bronze again. And after that I painted the moss, for which I used dark green, cayman green, scorpy green, lime green and ivory. I just built the color up from dark to light. The streaks you see underneath the chimney is actually Elbrecht's Earthshade. And when all that was done, I painted the base with AK Interactive's Dark Earth, Vallejo's Burnt Red and called the miniature, at least for this video, done. bet there will be a wizard one at some point. And if this exists in the future, you heard it here first. I had a typo where I wrote here instead of here. Didn't hurt that, right? Anyway, I need a small break from these big miniatures and gotta kitbash a space marine now. Also, if you feel outrageously cool and like this type of content, you can support me via YouTube channel membership and Patreon. You get the obligatory behind the scenes material where I frequently ask what you want to see and some cool smileys and stickers when I finally have made up my mind about what I want to have. And with that said, thanks a lot for watching. We are going to see each other in the next one.